Anything can happen here. This is Ghana, and yes, there are laws available, but do you really want to go through the process? That's what it is. So there are laws that will protect you, but do you want to go through the process? Do you want to be in court for 10 years fighting for your lands that really it's a clear-cut issue to the normal mind? Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so today I thought that I would do a video about leasehold land in Ghana. Now, I decided to do this video because I have people reach out to me about property all the time, right? They want to buy property, they want to rent, whatever they want to do property. And one of the things that comes up quite a lot is the fact that people don't want to buy leasehold because they don't understand how the rules work within leasehold. Now, I actually had this conversation on camera with Rush some time ago. This was a couple of months ago. It was a video where we were looking at some of his land that he has around. Excuse me. We're looking at his land, his plots of land that he has for sale. And towards the end of the video, I asked him about leasehold. And then he went in and he explained in detail how leasehold works here. Now, before that, it was a bit murky. The waters were a little bit murky. People didn't fully understand how leasehold works. So he was able to clear it up for me. And I know a lot of you would have missed that. And so I thought I would do this video so that you can get a better understanding of how leasehold works in Ghana. Okay, so let's just get into it. All right. So now we know that there are two forms here, right? When it comes to buying property, you have leasehold and you have freehold. So freehold means you pretty much own the land forever and ever. It stays in your generations. You buy it once. You don't have to think about it again. It is yours. You hand it down to your children, your children's 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 children, and it just stays in the family until somebody decides to sell it. Okay, leasehold is something that everyone strives to. You know, there's a lot of importance which is put on buying freehold land. Now, leasehold land is where you will purchase for, say, 50 years or 99 years. So 50 years if you are a foreigner and 99 years if you are Ghanaian. Okay, now, I think it's also important to understand that even though you are buying this fresh piece of land from somebody, there may not be, say, 50 years on the land. It depends on how long the term is left, how much of the term is left from the person that you're buying from. So, for example, if I decide to buy from Rush and Rush's land is 50 years, for example, it's not. If it was 50 years, for example, and he's had it already for 3 years, I'm not buying a 50-year lease anymore. I'm buying a 47-year lease because he's had it for 3 years already. So sometimes, you know, the number of years can be different depending on the time period that you are buying it from that person. All right. So when it comes to leasehold land, you have to understand that it comes with a renewal. Now, it's important to make sure that when you buy land, within your contract for buying the land, there is a clause in there for leaseholds. So it should stipulate that you have the right to renew the lease on the land, okay? Now, I would say that's very, very important. Although some people may say that it's automatic, I would really, for me personally, I would make sure that that is within the contract just so I cover all my bases. So I would say if you are going to sign any type of contract, make sure you get a lawyer to look over it, because sometimes when it comes to doing things in a different country, you don't know what you don't know, okay? So you may think, oh, I've read the contract, everything seems fine, but there could be some stipulations in there that you're not aware of because it doesn't work like that wherever you're from. And so just get a lawyer to look over it, make sure that that leasehold clause is in there so that you can actually renew. All right, I would say that's very, very, very important to do. Now, the fear that a lot of people have is that, okay, well, if I buy a land and it's got 47 years on it, after 47 years, it's going to go back to whoever I purchased it from. I'm going to lose my house. I can't build a house and I'm only having the house for 47 years and then somebody else gets to enjoy the benefits of it. It doesn't work like that, okay? You are allowed to renew your lease. All right, so now the cost of renewal is where a lot of people, the thing that a lot of people don't understand. So when it comes to renewing your leasehold, you're not buying the land from the beginning again. So now the land is worth, so you bought the land, say, for 10,000 cedis. Now the land is worth 100,000 cedis. So now you have to pay 100,000 cedis in order to keep your house. It's not like that. It is a percentage of whatever the land is worth at that time that you're going to renew. So if you bought it for 10,000, it's now worth 100,000. You may pay 10%, for example, of what that new cost is. So if it's now worth 100,000, you're going to pay maybe 10%, so you're going to pay 10,000 cedis and not 100,000 cedis. So you're not buying the land all over again, you're paying a fraction of what it is. Now don't quote me on that 10%, I'm not 100% sure. 10% is what Rush quoted. I don't know if those are set in stone figures or not, but I mean, you'd have to do the research, you know. Everything you do, everything you hear on YouTube, let me just say, go and do your own research, because although we can know some things, we cannot know everything. We're not lawyers, we are not certified people that know everything. We're just passing on information that we have heard or that we have been told, and so it's for you to do your own due diligence, okay? Don't put that responsibility on someone else and say, oh, well, I heard so-and-so YouTuber say something and so it must be 100% true. Don't do that, okay? That's where we all get ourselves in trouble, okay? So just remember, so this is my disclaimer here, right? I'm giving you information I've heard, but it's for you to go and do your own due diligence at the end of the day. All right, so in order to renew, you're going to pay a fraction of that. So don't be afraid to purchase leasehold. Although freehold seems like that is mega, like if I can get freehold, then my life is brilliant. It doesn't mean if you have leasehold land that it's any less. It just means that you're going to have to renew at some point. Okay, that's all that leasehold is here. So don't be worried about purchasing it. It's really, although yes, you are going to pay more money after 50 years. But honestly, if you really want to, you can save your money up. You know, every year, save a little bit, put it aside, and then, you know, ready for renewal. And it's just part of it. I mean, we have leaseholds and freeholds in the UK as well, you know. I've bought property in the UK before where it has been leasehold. I've bought property where it has been freehold. Hey, this house is freehold. Brilliant. You know that when you buy freehold, it's also going to cost a little bit more because you are buying the freehold. And let me also just say this. If you have a piece of land, if you're buying a piece of land from somebody and they have the freehold, they don't have to sell you the freehold. They can actually sell it to you as leasehold and they can keep the freehold for themselves. Some people like to do that because it means that their generations continue to get a little trickle of money from it. So some people will do that. So for example, I have the freehold, I'm selling to you, I'm going to sell it to you at this price because I'm still retaining the freehold title, but I'm giving it to you for leasehold. So if you want to, you can look at leasehold as paying 40 years worth of rent up front, if that's what you want to do. So you can decide to renew, or you can decide after whatever, I'm not doing it anymore. I mean, for some of us, let's just say, you know, you may not even be alive within the 50 years or the 90 years when you come to renew. It's going to be whoever's in your family that has access to the property. So it's really not something for you to worry about. And yes, we should be worried about our generations and how they are going to keep the house in the family. But I wouldn't let it be something that, you know, you lose sleep over every night. It's not that deep. Yeah. So, and then another thing you have to understand about buying land here in Ghana is that there is also something called ground rent, right? So ground rent is something that you pay every single year. And so if you bought land from a chief or whatever, you find that there is ground rent. Now, Rush did quote some numbers. He said it might be about 200 cedis. For me, I would say, let me put it in my head, 500 cedis so that I'm not surprised. It's going to be different depending on where it is, how much land you have. It's going to be different prices everywhere, but it's going to be around that. You're not going to pay thousands and thousands of cedis every year for ground rent. So that's also something to be aware of. I know he did mention on camera that, you know, he sold land to a few people and they didn't realize that ground rent was involved, and then there was a bit of a hoo-ha because people were like, oh, why did no one tell me about these charges? Yes, there is ground rent that needs to be paid. And so that's something else to just be mindful of. But honestly, for me personally, I would have no problem buying a leasehold piece of land. It just is what it is. It's very difficult to find freehold land here and now anyway. If you want to find freehold land, it's not going to be within Accra, it's going to be outside Accra. And even then, even that, they're still enforcing like leasehold land. And the reason, in fact, I didn't say this before, the reason that freehold was starting to, what's the word I'm trying to say? How am I trying to say this? The reason that there is less and less freehold available is because what was happening is that there are some greedy chiefs, as Rush says, and what they would do is they would have like mass amounts of land. And what they would do is they would sell all the land And now there's nothing left for the future generations afterwards. So you would have one chief enjoying all this land. It's been sold and the land is gone forever, and he's been good for his lifetime. But then his generations afterwards have nothing, and it was causing a problem. It was causing a lot of divide. So in order to keep things fair, leasehold was introduced, so that it means that the chiefs, either they get the land back if someone would like to give it back, or they get some type of residual income coming in every single, however long, every 40 years, 50 years or whatever, so that there is still, it's an income generating thing, right? So it just keeps everybody good. And I think that's fair, don't you? Because I don't think it's fair for one chief to have sold and be a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever, a trillionaire within his lifetime, and then his children's children live in poverty. It doesn't seem right. And I think most of us can agree with that. So that's it explained. If you have any questions, you can put them into the comment section. I will do my best to explain it as much as possible, but hopefully you have been able to, so you don't have to ask me anything in the comment section. But that is pretty much it. So if you have been thinking about buying a property and it is leasehold, make sure you quiz the person first of all, and make sure you get as much information from that person as possible when you get your contract back. Make sure you get a lawyer, look over it, make sure the stipulation is in there so that you can repurchase the land after a certain number of years. Make sure you understand everything that is within the contract, because anything can happen here. This is Ghana, and yes, there are laws available, but do you really want to go through the process? That's what it is. So there are laws that will protect you, but do you want to go through the process? Do you want to be in court for 10 years fighting for your land that really it's a clear-cut issue to the normal mind, but for someone who wants to disturb you, they can disturb you because they know that you'll get tired. Let's be honest, I know people that have bought land here and have got frustrated with certain things and just walked away and left the land for the person because they can't be bothered to fight it. So for me, as many things as you can rule out that could possibly go wrong, rule them out at the beginning so you don't have problems later on. So just pay a lawyer, look over the document, make sure a good lawyer, make sure everything is in there as needed, and go about your business. That's it. So that's all I have to say for today. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you have been educated to some level today. I hope I've done my best to explain it. If I was talking very fast, I'm sorry about that. You know, sometimes when I have things in my head, I have to talk fast in order to get them out of the way. That's how it works with my brain. Anyway, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time.